Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is King, and on my channel I talk about like stuff that I care about, especially ones that concern me, my country people, Nigeria as a whole. So let's get into today's video. So immigration is so pivotal to us Nigerians because we live in a country that runs on failure. Yeah, we have systems that are decrepit and are in shambles. We have a government that could give two fucks about us. And it is an every man for themselves in this country. And so a lot of people, are left behind. A lot of people die in the grind, in the crush, in the hustle of trying to be number one. But the truth is that there's no real number one in this country. Something very hilarious, that will kind of give you a sense of where Nigeria is as a country is that there's this story, not even story, there was this incident of a doctor and his brother being kidnapped, yeah, and the kidnappers demanded a ransom of 100 million naira, but the family could only fess off 15 million naira, and so this particular doctor was released, but his brother had been killed. But anyways, he was sent back to his family. This doctor was sent back to his family. Fast forward to this year, I think yesterday or last week, this man was treating a child. This doctor he went back to his job as a doctor in the hospital, and he was treating a child. And then the guardian of the child came in, and guess who the guardian of the child was? The same kidnapper that kidnapped him last year. And so this man alerted the authorities, and they apprehended the parents or the guardian of this child that was gravely ill. Now, I don't know the particulars of this case, in the sense of what kind of illness was this child suffering from, first of all, and could it be that these kidnappers kidnapped this man and his brother, this doctor and his brother, to raise money for their child, or were they kidnapping to have money for just excess and surviving and lavish living? So many threads, tangents where this story could go into. But the reality of it is like, imagine kidnapping a doctor. You understand? If the kidnapper had killed this doctor, you get, what are the chances that you killed the person that would actually save the life of your child? Do you understand? Do you understand how very warped things are in this country? And so all of this to say, a lot of people run away, okay? And it has gotten worse, as the years progress. Now it's become like a one for all solution. If you don't want to die, if you don't want to suffer, you don't want to be crushed, run away, move to another country. You understand? But the thing about moving to another country now is that it literally costs an arm and a leg to move to another country. It literally costs that. Like, a lot of people sell their properties, their landed properties. A lot of people scam their grandparents out of landed properties. A lot of people deceive, steal, commit fraud just to get that money to run away from the country. There's literally no conversation about country building. I mean, there are, voices here and there, but they are very isolated, and they are mostly drowned out by naysayers that believe that the country cannot go anywhere, Nigeria cannot go anywhere. So anyways, where I'm leading up to is that because of the way Nigeria is here, a lot of people commit crimes that would actually get them locked up in a psych ward if it was a developed country, if it was a country that was working, okay? If it was an advanced society. Nigeria is not advanced at all. These people will get locked up. We have a stable system of law and criminal justice, and the police system, okay? I don't trust the police, but we have something where investigations can be carried out to determine how some people ended up being victims of certain horrible crimes. But in this country, no such thing, no such systems exist. Basically everybody's living at the mercy of the most protection they can give themselves. High fence buildings, burglary proof on all windows, barbed wires, vigilante groups walking around the street parading, even if it's not safe for them either at night. All of those things are just pure luck. Okay. I don't want to get into religion because it's very, very the whole hydra monster religion in this country, but I think people also believe that God saves them from evil and all of that. Yeah, but whatever. Started off with immigration, as a means of escape from the failing system of Nigeria and the extreme levels to take for you to succeed, to successfully immigrate to a working system, to a working country. And I don't mean Russia or Ukraine, where you'll be tricked into conscription for a war that you have no business fighting, and all of that, you have no preparations to fight. Not all those. I mean countries like Canada. Let's leave the US out of it, but the US was the number one destination. Canada and the UK. So, anyways, the UK is actually, before this moment where Keir Starmer is in power here, the previous policies of the previous prime ministers have been a bit attainable, to migrate there, and to live there, and to get your papers and settle there as a Nigerian. Okay, so it's a common thing here. People just say things like, oh, if you go to Nigeria, if you just throw stone, you see one Nigerian. If you go to the UK, if you just throw stone, you see one Nigeria by your side. Like, Nigerians are very much plenty in that country. It has gotten much worse, much difficult, much of a strain to make it to this country, United Kingdom. So I was talking about crimes that put people in cycles. We don't have such accountability in this country. We don't have such systems that put people, put the fear of punishment in people in this country. And so whenever we see people, whenever there's news, that comes out that, oh, Nigerian immigrants abroad, have been arrested for committing social crime, we shake our head. When we hear the news, Nigerians back, we shake our head. We say sigh. Our hearts break deeply. Well, my heart breaks deeply, because imagine how long that person was getting away with such crime in this country, and their victims never ever got any sort of justice, and died in obscurity. Their families had to mourn them and just bury their dead, and the perpetrators got away scot-free, got away without any even fear of being caught. There was this time where there's a state in Nigeria called Port Harcourt, where there was a serial killer that was going around killing young girls, and the girls were doing sex work. So that's how the person got his victims. But when women started bringing up the issue, like saying, oh, girls from Port Harcourt University, Uniports, avoid this thing, so this, so started giving people, and now other people, majority men and other, let's just say majority of the men, were Nigerian men, were drowning out the warnings that other girls were giving their fellow girls in that state, that, oh, drowning it with judgments, that, oh, you say there's this thing for sex or ashawo, so you say, oh, ashawo, it's ashawo work that they're doing, they get anything they deserve. You get ashawo supposed to be they're supposed to be punished by the universe, basically, because they are doing sex work, and because they are doing sex work. Why are these children doing sex work? Because most of them are minors, because first year university 16, 17. Okay, most of them are teenagers, if not minors, 19, 18. So it's all these girls is doing sex work. You have to understand that most of them use money to take care of themselves. Okay, most of them use money because there is no jobs for youth in this country. There are no internship programs. There are no outlets for creativity. The government does not reward entrepreneurship. The government does not reward industriousness in youth. The government and the system and the environment we live in, the environment we've cultivated for ourselves as Nigerians, is any form of earnestness, sincerity is met with derision, is met with mockery, ridicule. Oh, you're so foolish. Do you think your dreams can come true? Oh, you're so foolish to believe in people's desire to enjoy your art. You're so foolish. Like, you don't even know, like you've not even eaten today, and you're talking about your aspirations to be this and that. You better go to school and do one kind of degree that at least you'll be able to get a job. Or even if you get a degree and you can't get a job, go online and start selling products, start selling wigs, start selling dress. Because desire to be a microbiologist, there's no place for you in this country. Desire to be a marine biologist, there's no place. Biochemist, industrial chemistry, for it to be a political commentator, no work for you in this country. For you to comment on social, for you to be a sociologist, anthropologist in this country, geologist in this country, there's no job for you. So don't waste your parents' money, or don't waste your time after school aspiring to create something new, okay, in your country, or for your country, or for your country people. Do what it takes to survive, basically. And so these girls, that participate in this sex work, they decided falling victims to this serial killer in that state. And thankfully, the women refused to shut up about it. They kept on talking, and eventually this person was caught. It wasn't even like, it didn't even take so much effort to catch this person. It didn't take any like much investigative skills to catch this person. After the noise became so loud on Twitter, I think the following week or 2 weeks later, the guy was caught. And it's like, if people did not raise noise, make noise about this situation, is that how girls will just keep on dying and dying and dying and dying, and will not check for them, will not look around, will not question it because they are doing sex work? I just did that as a background to say, like, whenever we hear that Nigerian men, mostly men, are arrested abroad for domestic violence, for GBV, gender-based violence, for just disturbance and disorderly behavior, when they are arrested abroad, everybody at home, like mostly women at home, are like, oh, you don't see them now. You don't see them now. Like, you get that kind of, like, you've seen it now. Like, this is what we're talking about. You get. But anyways, I want to talk about this particular situation, and I want to talk about something very specific to this particular situation. Okay. So fast forward to well, let's not say fast forward, because this happened last year. So November 17, 2025, a story broke out about a Nigerian man. The news article is titled "Trial Date Set for Man Accused of Murdering Aspiring Psychologist Steph Irons in Mapali." A trial date has been set for a 40-year-old Nottingham man accused of murdering a 23-year-old graduate at her home. Appearing over a video link from HMP Nottingham, Adedapo Adegbola was told he will face trial on April 7 next year for allegedly killing 23-year-old Stephanie Irons. The defendant of Woodborough Road, Mapali, was charged with one count of murder following the discovery of Ms. Irons' body on Tuesday, October 21st. Police were called to an address in Westdale Lane West in Mapali at 10:07 p.m. that day after concerns were raised for a woman's safety. Stephanie, known to her friends and family as Steph, was found dead by the emergency services, and a murder investigation was launched. Appearing at Nottingham Crown Court on Monday, November 7th, Adegbola spoke only to confirm his name and that he could hear the proceedings. He was not asked to enter any plea, and Judge Nemal Shant's case set a plea hearing date January 16th. Okay, so this is the family speaking, like giving a tribute to her, saying her ambition to be a psychologist was well on the way after gaining both a degree and master's in clinical psychology. After gaining experience, she was about to apply for a doctorate in clinical psychology. But let me just read this report here. Adedapo Adegbola of Woodborough Road, Mapali, admitted a single charge of murder at Nottingham Crown Court on January 26th this year. So, Nottinghamshire police said Adegbola was a former work colleague of Ms. Irons. The alarm was raised by co-workers after a series of concerning messages were sent to them on the evening of the attack. Emergency services were then called to Westdale Lane West, Mapali at 10 p.m. where they discovered Ms. Irons wounded in her living room. Despite the best effort of paramedics, she was pronounced dead at the scene a short while later. By this point, Adegbola had fled to a property in Mansfield, leaving a trail of discarded evidence, including blood-stained trainers and a jumper on the streets of Mapali and Carlton. He then traveled to Mansfield Workshop Sheffield, and finally to Hull. The next morning, October 22nd, 2025, he returned to Nottingham and handed himself in at Oxclose police station, where he was arrested on suspicions of murder. He went on to provide no comment to questions posed by detectives in police interviews. However, investigators gathered crucial evidence to charge Adegbola with murder. Detective Inspector Stuart Barson of the Force said this is a tragic case in which a caring and compassionate young woman was taken away in horrific circumstances. Following the attack on Miss Irons, Adegbola made no attempt to call for an ambulance and was concerned only with getting away from the scene and attempting to dispose of vital evidence. Although he initially turned himself in, he went on to provide no comment to police interviews. The evidence compiled against him, though, has left the defendant with no choice but to plead guilty today. The report I read said he was going to be sentenced on February 5th. So this article I'm going to read, this report I'm going to read now, is about his sentencing. An obsessed murderer from Nottingham cruelly ended the life of a kind and loving university graduate by stabbing her in the neck with a knife he bought days earlier from a B&M store. Nottingham Crown Court heard how, after killing 23-year-old Steph Irons, Adedapo Adegbola carried out a final act of humiliation by sending sexually explicit messages to their work WhatsApp group. Oh my God. In a heartbreaking victim impact statement, her mother, Donna Fox, told how her life is a prison of loss since her daughter was savagely stabbed to death. So the judge said Miss Irons and Adegbola had been in a short relationship which ended due to his controlling behavior, and added he was not prepared to accept that. That's a quote, a direct quote. He was not prepared to accept that. Adegbola fled to Sheffield, then Hull, and came back to Nottingham and surrendered to the police the day after killing. Judge Shant said, "What you did that day was to take the life of a young girl who was compassionate, and the devastation you have caused her mother, stepfather, friends, and others is profound. You killed her because she attempted to end the relationship, and she was attacked in her own home where she was entitled to feel safe. You left her dead or dying and locked her in her own home." The judge added, "I take the view that you, Dr. Adegbola, targeted the jugular. There was an intent to kill." The prosecutor said the killing took place at Miss Irons' home in Westdale Lane on October 21st last year. He said a concerned colleague went to the address amid concerns for her safety at around 10:30 p.m. The prosecutor said a police officer looked through a window and saw Mrs. Irons lying on her back surrounded by blood. Police forced entry and paramedics followed but couldn't do anything to save her. The prosecutor added the defendant had brought knives from B&M, I think that's the store, in Daybrook on October 16th, and the prosecution's case is that it was a knife he used to later cut himself after he left the premises that he used to kill Stephanie Irons. He said Adegbola forced his way into her home and left her for dead, locking the door behind him. It is quite plain, the prosecutor is saying now, it is quite plain after killing her, he must have sat on the sofa as his footprints were in the blood. In a final act of humiliation, he then sent sexually explicit messages of Stephanie to their work WhatsApp group. Wow. It is the prosecution's case that he was obsessed with this woman and could and would not accept this relationship was over. He will be sentenced to life. Why am I bringing this up? You get, like, the killer has been found and he has been sentenced to life, and the family of the girl has gotten some form of justice, because I don't think, like, this is, enough for the family. But anyways, he has been arrested. I'm bringing why I started from where I started from and why I've got to this point. There are some things that happened in between, this case breaking out on the internet, and Nigerians, or a specific type of Nigerians' reaction to it, and how that contributes to the horrid reality of what oppressed groups or minority groups face in this country. This situation is horrifying and it's heartbreaking, but it's especially despairing because of something that happened, as this thing was unfolding, as this case was unfolding. This man committed this crime to this woman, and he, eventually turned himself into the police and admitted to this crime. Yeah, but between the news breaking out as a report online, something happened. I'm going to read out this tweet from a Nigerian man. A Nigerian man. This is not just, when people talk about gender conversations in Nigeria, people turn it to, people reduce any form of, deep, criticism of men into, they reduce it to gender wars. When this is something that is literally like femicide rates are like escalating in this country, okay? Gender-based violence, it just keeps going through the roof, and there's no real justice brought to these women, or to women in the country, girls in the country. There's no protection for them. But the issue of immigration now, I started there as like a lot of people migrate to run away from the horrors of the country, but the thing about migrating is that you are not going to throw yourself away when you go to the new country. You're still going to be yourself. And it's like, if yourself was a murderer in Nigeria, like how many things would you have gotten away with in a country where there are no systems to protect the people you get? And the idiocy to think that when you now travel abroad, you are going to still perpetuating such behaviors, plus the comfort of being in a working system. You get a kind of rubbish, yeah, the kind of like non-logical system of that whole thing. You get, like, you want to travel to the UK for a better life, for opportunities, for progress, okay, for you to be self-actualized, but you also want to like in the UK, so you still want to persist in your horrible what to call it, vices, okay? You still want to be able to perform like your vices there. You get, now this is the extreme case of murder, yeah, but a lot of Nigerians, they go to the UK and still commit fraud. They still rob fellow Nigerians that are coming into the country. I cannot count how many stories I've heard of how Nigerians get into the UK will be like, oh, I gave this Nigerian money for accommodation so that when we get Nigeria, I have a landing, and then they get to the airport and they are stranded. Or, oh, I selected Nigeria moving with me because I'm new and all of that, and then when the person moves in with me, the person makes my life hell, and I have to move out of the house for the person. Or a man, harassing a woman, because I have female friends there as well, harassing a woman and threatening to, expose her to in the workplace where they all work together. You know, those kind of bad behaviors that does not get any like pushback in this country. They go there and they persist in it. You saw the story that broke out, I think it was last year, of that man that was so called a respected member of society here that traveled abroad with his wife and her children, and he was chasing this woman around the house. He wanted to beat her. He wanted to beat her scatter, and he was chasing her around the house, and the CCTV in their home was catching it, and the children were watching. And when this man was arrested, rightfully so, there were a lot of men that came to his defense that, oh, it's not like this, actually, maybe the woman just provoked him, maybe the woman is very disrespectful. You know that when Nigerian men go to the UK, they lose all sense of propriety, and they don't have sense, they don't have respect for their husband, and they go wild. Just one excuse to beat sense into them, Abby. That's just what the talk is like. Let's beat sense into this woman, Abby. But let me get to this point here now. So there's this account that calls themselves Baron Chimeka, and this person, on the report where it is announced, like the report of this, the trial date set for the man accused of murdering aspiring psychologist. This man brought that report and made a tweet, this whole long ass tweet. Let me read out the tweet. Just reading this story now, and I am disappointed because he is my boy. I have been assisting him in different areas since he got to the UK. Nothing is clear in this story at all. This report is literally the one where he admits he has already turned himself into the police and said he did this. He has admitted to the single mother charge. This person is saying in his tweet, saying nothing is clear in the story at all. He just suddenly stopped contact. I have been trying to reach him but was unsuccessful. I will be visiting him this week to get to the bottom of this matter, because the David I know and have interacted with can't hurt a fly. Those are great weighty words of what? Character, what they call this? Character, like vouching for somebody's character, yeah? Like, I have to say this to you. Like when you want to give a character report on a person, yeah, and it's a good character report, yeah. But let me continue. He can't hurt a fly, and it is important I speak to him myself and support him myself throughout this trial. I will keep you guys updated. This one is close to home for me, and no way I won't get to the bottom of it. I feel very sad. Why? It feels like the expression of sadness is sadness for this man being arrested and sent to trial, not sadness for the fact that a woman was murdered in her own home. I have already applied to visit him and I'm waiting for approval from HMP. I don't know what that is, but maybe it's the justice system and all of that. So this was, he made this tweet on November 17th, 2025. Remember, this guy committed this crime in October 21st, yeah? So November 17th, the story broke out, and this man came on here, rushed to vouch for this character and to even preemptively prepare to defend him, to make room for him and all of that. So fast forward to February 5th was when this man was supposed to be sentenced, yeah? So now, let me now read the statement that this person made on February 5th, after statement was, after sentencing was done. This man now came back to his previous tweet, quoted it, and wrote out this whole epistle and said, which I'll read, okay? I'll read it out. As David is sentenced, I now have an opportunity to state the fact as I know it in his case, and now I was involved and my position as well as advice. You guys have to listen to this thing like very, I hope my mic is coming through clearly, because there are so many things I want to touch on, and why I made this whole long background of Nigeria, a failed state that is the failed state that is Nigeria, or the failed state of Nigeria, and how and the failure of Nigerians that run away, that migrate, you get to better countries with working systems. You understand? This guy is not in Nigeria, obviously. He's a Nigerian, okay? And Adedapo Adebola, the criminal in charge, the criminal like that is on blast right now, he's a Nigerian, he's a criminal, okay? And he's in the UK. He's committed this crime in the UK. So let's read this thing. So what is the advice and what is his position? He says, I have assisted Adedapo in his immigration matter since he arrived in the UK, from his graduate visa to skilled work visa, to the point where he even had a fare evasion issue. I warned that he should stay away from criminality no matter how small it is, as this may deprive him of ILR. I think resident paper or something. I listed a few of them. So he's saying that he wants Adedapo to stay away from criminality because it may deprive him of ILR. And it's like, why did we leave Nigeria in the first place? If you were comfortable being a criminal in Nigeria, why do you want to go to a country that works? Just stay in Nigeria and persist in your rubbish. You understand? But no, they always want to go to a better place, okay? They want to move to a better country to enjoy the benefit of a better country, while persisting in that bad behavior. At a point during my regular interactions with David, he hinted about his relationship with a work colleague and that he may settle down with her. Before I continue, for him to say that he may settle down with this woman when this woman had already said this relationship had already been described as a short relationship, okay? Maybe she told people about it, but short relationship, and he's telling his mentor that he may settle down with her. This person says, I want him to be very careful of workplace relationship as it may lead to claim of sexual harassment. Like, can you see, like, can you get a sense of where this person is coming from? Can you see the hint of misogyny that is so normalized in this country? So normalized in Nigerian men. Like, Nigerian men just grow up misogynists. They just grow up, they have to literally, and any man that is claiming not to be, someone that has to start from the beginning to unlearn misogyny. Misogyny is baked into the fabric of our culture, to our societies. Everywhere you look, it's normalized. Okay, it is normal. But I'm bringing up misogyny because, like, the whole idea that having a workplace relationship might lead to claim of sexual harassment means that they don't understand boundaries. Okay, why should a workplace relationship lead to claims of sexual harassment if it's not that you are abnormal? Yes, you have a relationship with somebody. A lot of people date in the workplace. Okay, so why is it that you're scared and you're now warning him in advance that, oh, if you're not careful, they will accuse you of sexual harassment? And I get, first of all, I've not mentioned it, but the relationship here is between a Nigerian man and a British-born woman, okay, white woman. So the whole idea is that when men come together, when like black African men come together and they start to say things like, oh, that white woman ruined his life. Okay, when you talk about like footballers dating white women, you say, oh, the white woman ruined his life. Oh, if you stupid, if you handle white women, they'll just, it's only black men. If you date black women, at least you will not get claimed of sexual harassment. Even though there will be there might be sexual harassment in the relationship. Okay, they believe that black women can take their rubbish. Okay, but because they say they know that black women can take their rubbish, they still go around like dating white women. Like, I don't know, it's just racial low self-esteem, like low racial self-esteem, anyways. But like, why would a workplace relationship lead to claim of sexual harassment if it's not that you are already there's already hints of your behavior, and this one is very much aware of it. Anyways, it goes on. One day David called me and was crying that he is in serious trouble and that he did not pay the right fare. And when ticket officers asked him his name, he gave them the wrong name. I was upset, and I reminded him to stay away from anything that would get him a conviction. However, I guided him in settling the issue at the time. I did not hear from David for a long time until on 17th November 2025, when I saw the news of his murder case. When I read the news, although there is little to no information online, I was very disappointed and even stated in this tweet, that the tweet I read before now. I also wanted to visit him and hear from him, as well as support him where necessary. I visited David at HMP Nottingham and we talked for more than 2 hours. It was the first time David was meeting me in person. So, calling somebody your boy, that's November 17th last year, you're calling him your boy. You have never met this David in person, and you were already vouching for him on top of a report of him committing murder. Can you see how extreme like the situation is for Nigerian men? Like, can you see how extreme it is, how they normalize violence against women to the extent that even when you see a report about somebody being in trouble, a man that you don't know from Adam, you've never met him in person, just because he helped him to do immigration to go to UK, that means he's a good person? Why? How did you come about this person being your boy? How did you come about he can't hurt a fly? You've never met him in person. You've never lived with him. You never had a relationship with him where he would be upset. You've never seen the way he handles heavy emotions, volatile emotions in front of you. But he's your boy. He's your boy and you were disappointed. Disappointment implies you've already seen a background of behavior. Okay, and you say something that he now behaves in a way that you are not used to, so you are disappointed. How exactly have you noticed such a behavior when you've never met him in person, Mr. Man? He gave me a detailed account of what happened and what led to her death. Not what he did though. When this man is recalling his conversation with David, he's saying what led to her death. Did she die passively? Or did this person kill her? what led to her death? Is this sickness? The passive language is so irritating to me to read here. He even told me that he has not told his lawyers most of what he just narrated to me. Okay, what's the special thing he told you that can save him from the fact that he bought a knife, he kept it and carried it around for days, and then when he wanted to, he entered the house, committed the deed, locked her inside so nobody would be able to even find her, and ran away. Then when they had ran far enough, ensuring that she was gone, he now went to go and report himself to police officers. Me, I don't see his reporting himself as remorse, so but let's keep going to this situation. I was more than disappointed. How? Why? And above all, shocked, as well as very sad. Sad for who? Sad for who? Sad for the family of the girl. Sad for the girl herself, for the woman herself. Sad for what? Those who have had dealings with me can attest that I won't support any unlawful behavior. Oh, now it's unlawful behavior. What about the moralistic aspect of it? What about the humane aspect of it? Let's leave the law aside. You cannot, using the word unlawful behavior. If the law was not there, like in a country like Nigeria now, that the law is not there, that means you can take him to church, pray for him, and say he will not do it again, and people will cover up the situation and tell the family, or you may not even inform the family, just leave her body where they will find it. That's happened before. It happens all the time in this country. Unlawful behavior implies there is a law, there's a working justice system at hand in this environment that you live in, and you are angry, and you won't support it because the law does not support it. So in a country where there is no working justice system, what would you have done? Oh, don't do that again. That's bad behavior, my boy. Don't do it again. A lot of men get rehabilitated in this country, and we have not even begun to even pierce beneath the veil of the horrors of what these men do in this country to women, to oppressed groups, to children. It's always forgive. And forgive, you are giving his life to Christ. Don't worry, he's going to church. He's a pastor now. At the end of the meeting, before leaving, I said I'll be very frank and upfront with him. I will advise him to opt for an early guilty plea ASAP for the following reasons. Now let's look at the reasons why a young woman barely 23 years old. A young woman barely 23 years old is dead because of carelessness and inability to control himself. Do you see how this thing just absolutely minimizes the horrific nature of this David? These are Dapo. This is not just carelessness. This is not just inability to lack of self-control. This is dangerous obsessive personality on display here, which is literally a mental issue that should be treated. Carelessness is me, dropping my phone. This was not careless. And carelessness, the way you say careless, if you want to look at the careless aspect of it, the careless aspect of it would be him leaving so much evidence behind. So is that the part of what you said is what you mean carelessness? Inability to control himself. Inability, is it control that is the issue when somebody bought a knife days before, carried it everywhere he went until he used it on the person? Is there anything that shows a lack of control there? Or something that shows something that was controlled? An event that was controlled? Second thing, the age difference between him and her will be crucial to the case. Oh, a 40-year-old man dating a 23-year-old woman. What exactly do you have in common here? A 40-year-old man is dating a 23-year-old woman, and he's telling his friend, this man here, that I may settle down with her one day. You are a 40-year-old man, and no matter how she behaves, she's 23. She's 23. What exactly can you people have, two of you have in common? They said they were like colleagues at the workplace, yeah? That's another predilection of that is very common here of older men here in Nigeria going for very young women. Sometimes they are 19-year-olds. They marry them, make them second wife, third wife. Marry them, don't even marry them. Just give them, like, put them in a house and ask them to start giving birth to their children. Like, it's very common here. It's not questioned. Oh, just do traditional wedding, meet the elders, and bam, 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 it's done. A 40-year-old should not be hanging out with a 40-year-old man should not be hanging out with a 3-year-old man thinking of marriage. That's just my thing. Like, I just feel like there's nothing, especially as a Nigerian man, what exactly do you want to talk about with a woman that has grown up in a different culture than you, and she's way younger than you, and she does not have all of the patriarchal condition, the same patriarchal conditioning, cultural conditioning that 23-year-olds in Nigeria would have, that they would even be more careful with your type of behavior, with your type of person. And so for him to now go after a 23-year-old girl, 23-year-old woman, an adult, and not just any woman, a woman that is born and brought up in the UK, and I know part of his motivations for being with her is because she will guarantee him a longer stay in the country. That's part of one of the reasons why a lot of Nigerian men date white women. It's just to get their papers. I don't know if the UK still does this. I think Stammers kind of put a whole block on that whole system. But anyways, this man says the age difference between her will be crucial, between both of them will be crucial to the case. Now the third reason is the fact he bought the knife he used to kill her a few days before the incident, and have been carrying that knife all through seems to suggest he planned everything that happened that night. So this is the third reason he's giving. While in the first reason he's talking about carelessness and inability to control himself, what suggests carelessness when you already are aware that this person bought a knife and has premeditatively thought of killing this woman for days? That is like the most controlled behavior. Making sure it comes to pass, making sure its plan works out. That's a sign of, that's a tale of control, in my opinion. His fourth reason, I don't know why he's making such a bullet point of all of this, because he's still repeating the same thing. His fourth reason is he also took that knife from his house on the day she was murdered to her flat. It screams intentional acts. 5. He murdered her and, most importantly, left her in her room, locked the door, threw away the key, and left her in her flat in her own blood. Oh God. This is so fucking gruesome. This is so fucking gruesome. This is so disgusting. And I'm just thinking about how he's done this before. In my opinion, I feel he's done this before. He's done it before. And it's only because he believes in the working justice system of the UK. That's why he went to turn himself in. If it was Nigeria, he'd just clean his hand and go. He just clean his hand, he just go to, he may not even clean himself up, he just go. 6th reason, it would be unfair to let our family believe the gruesome way she was murdered and not put them through a victim impact statement, as he will get a very long sentence. So he's saying this man should just plead guilty so that the family will not need to know the gory details found out by investigation. Just say it's guilty, let me just go, so that you get, because if they find out the way she died, or the way she was killed by this man, by her dedapo, okay, if they found it out that their victim impact statement would increase the weight of the penalty that the justice system will hand to him, that the trial will hand over to him, or place upon him, and it's like, are you fucking for real? Oh, that is your problem, that you don't want him to get the full weight of justice for the horrible shit he did. Like, you're not even for real at all. I don't think you are a real person. But I also think this screams apologist behavior, in my opinion. This is all my opinion here. So the 7th reason again is the jury won't believe his claim that he has been suicidal. Oh, remember when I said that he used the same knife after killing her to cut himself? He couldn't even go through with killing himself, but I'm glad he did not, so that he will get to live the rest of his life, with this thing. He will get to live the rest of life being punished for what he did that night. I'm saying, like, he couldn't even, go through with cutting himself properly. And this man advising that The jury won't believe his claim that he has been suicidal, as there has been no shred of evidence that he had a disease of the mind weeks and months before the incident. But if he was in Nigeria and he actually had obsessive, out of control thoughts, in such a way that he was thinking of murdering people, like he was having intrusive thoughts of murdering people, if he had gone to seek psychiatric help, he would have been stigmatized and shamed to the very bottom of his soul. And I'm sure men, the same men that are here giving you advice, would have said that's very wrong, that you should not do that as a man. All those things are just like you control it with willpower. You can't just say you need mental support, mental health support. It's shameful for a man, as a Nigerian man, because they'll be like, person will never talk, but they go mental hospital. And it's like, of course, if you've not eaten, do you know how hunger affects your rationale and your logic and your thinking? Like, of course, like a lot of times when we address like serious issues in this country, because it is not about making money, because it is not about making it, because it is not about hustle and grinding, everybody's like, go warm the eba away your fridge. Like, let's be fucking for real. And it's coming from a despair, from the false helplessness that we've placed upon ourselves, that we can't fight the government, we can't change the systems, we just have to keep surviving. And it also promotes heavy individualism, that it's just not about me making it, and if I make it, I'll take care of my family. That's just what Nigerians run on, and it's just survival, unfortunately, or like crabs in a bucket. Because the same person that went to school to study medicine to give his family a better life is being kidnapped by an idiot that wants to get ransom money to make way for his family as well. So it's like, if I'm seeking to make it and you are seeking to make it, who is going to change the systems that is making us hustle and grind and kill ourselves to make it? Who is going to change the system? Who is driving the car of this country? Who is the country? If I'm thinking I'm not part of this Nigerian nonsense, I'm just going to travel abroad and make it, I'm going to just do what I want to do with my life. Like I just have to focus and lock in and grind, and I'll make it. I'm a Nigerian. I'll go to Russia, I'll fight in the war, they'll give me money, I'll be free. Let me just defraud these Oyibo people through Yahoo. When I get my money, at least me and my family will be set for life. Like it's time for us to change in this country. It's time for us to change. But like, all of that is coming from this person. This is a symptom of this. It's a symptom of the issue in this country. You as a Nigerian man, instead of you to come online and blatantly, publicly condemn such a character, and regret, even from the first moment, what you should be feeling disappointment and regret for is that you gave this person a chance to be in a country where he murders a person that he should have never ever been in contact with in the first place. You are literally the butterfly effect that brought him to meet Steph Irons and led her to her untimely death. It is you. That is where you should be feeling responsibility. You should be feeling guilt and disappointment and sadness for. Not because a man that also identifies as Nigerian, that he suffered and he spent so much money to move to this place, and I'm the one that helped him. So I feel sad for that. So now his conclusion, however, I added that my conclusion is based on what he just told me. That's conclusion of the previous tweet he let out, he posted on November 17th. However, I added that my conclusion is based on what he just told me, and that if I see some papers, I may have a different view, but I doubt. He wanted me to take over his case. Also, you are a lawyer. But I was reluctant because of how disappointed and sad. I also did not see what a new legal team can do differently. I told him that I will discuss it with a few colleagues, but taking over conduct of the case will delay the case, and I do not think he has any way out in the case. So why did you come out, before knowing all of these details, why did you come out and say you have to know the details because you know that this person cannot hurt a fly? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? This is the same way a lot of people have come and blocked families of women, girls from getting justice in this Nigeria, in this stupid country, this failed country, this failed state, all because oh, he's a man, I'm a man, and they're banking on the systems that have failed everybody. Let me tell you, the system that are failing women is also failing you as a man. So if you like, continue supporting rubbish. And I'm so happy that there are so many comments like calling him and dragging his ass to hell. So many comments. And another thing is saying it's a wake-up call for young people who just arrived in the UK that under no circumstances will you consider harming anyone because of relationship or rejection. But it's okay for them to do it in Nigeria now, Abi. Because the impetus for them to do it in the UK means it has always been there for them to do it in Nigeria and get away with it scot-free. He's 40 years. Do you think this is the first time a woman is rejecting him in his life? He's 40 years. Okay? This is not the first time a woman has rejected him, and I am pretty certain, in my opinion though, but I'm pretty certain a lot of women in the past in his life in Nigeria have suffered through some fates, but they are in obscurity because there is no system that is accounting for human beings in this country. There is no system that is out there to protect us in this country. So I'm bringing it up in the sense like I don't know, the whole thing I want to come together to bring is like Nigeria as a failed state. Immigration is not the solution. I just want to say, running away from your country, you are taking yourself there with you. You are taking Nigeria with you. Wherever you go to as a Nigerian, you are running away to Canada. That's the same way I saw on the same app, the same Twitter, that somebody was saying why should they be paying tax for healthcare for everybody? Why can't people just have private insurance and get their healthcare services taken care of by themselves with their own money? Why do I have to pay that? You're a fucking Nigerian, you left Nigeria and you are going to a country that works. What do you think makes that country works? What do you think makes that country works? Why do you think that you are costing you an arm and a leg to enter their country? And you don't want to pay tax? But when you are sick and these same tax policies cover your health, cover your family's health and all of that, and in that stupid country enjoying yourself, we will not see you come on this stupid app and blast your rubbish out. We will not see you come out and say your nonsense with your full chest. You will come and say, oh, I thank God. I give all the glory to God for saving my life in Canada. I give all the glory to God because I was sick and I just got to the hospital and it's just God that did it for me. No details, no nothing. No accountability. No proper credit given to doctors that saved your life. Not just some false puppets in the sky. But like that's just like most of the things I want to talk about. Like that's just what I want to talk about. Like immigration is not going to save Nigeria, and Nigeria can only work if all of us do the dirty work. We really need to put our hands in the dirt. We really need to put our hands in the muck, in the mud. We need to put our hands and get dirty, because we need to get to the root of the problem. You are in the UK. You are helping people to get immigration to get into the UK, and the only way you are vouching for them is because they are a Nigerian man that is greeting you morning, good afternoon, sir, and they are being subservient to you on the phone, and you don't know anything about their character. You've never seen them before. You've never met them in person before, but you are screaming, you will not hurt a fly. Misogyny is going to destroy people. Let me let you know now. Misogyny is going to destroy people. Misogyny that you people blatantly perpetuate to silence victims, to silence the families of women that are coming out every day crying for justice. That misogyny is going to kill you in the country you are running to. That's what I'm going to say. So, Adedapo has been sentenced to life imprisonment. That's the UK. That's the permanent residency is going to get. Abi? Permanent residence have to marry white woman. You will do your permanent residency, don't worry. Enjoy your permanent residency in the UK. Disgrace. It's not even a disgrace. It's not a disgrace, but disgrace implies there was a grace. What grace are you like? Nigeria is not even a country that has grace in and of itself for you to be disgracing. That's why I don't like this whole conversation about how when that's this kind of idea of, oh, I need to defend Nigerians abroad because of, no. We need to approach it like qualitatively. Okay, quality assessments. You can't just do blanket statements, say, oh, no, because you're a Nigerian, somebody, the systems that you ran away to enjoy the benefit of is now calling you to order. I should now be helping in my mouth to defend you. No, I won't. You get what you deserve there. And for the people that you caught in Nigeria, this is how they are getting their own justice. So I don't know, it's just a very, I don't know what to title this video because it's just so insane to consider and to think of. But I'm going to end the video here, and I'll be making more commentary about the state of Nigeria going forward, and I hope to make regular videos here going forward, because I feel like there's a movement rising up in Nigeria, and I want to every step of the way encourage such positive movement. A movement demanding change in Nigeria is rising up, and I want to put my voice on it and cancel the naysayers. Okay, so anyways, like, subscribe, tell me your thoughts about this issue. I want to hear it. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Bye.